The meat is back in pro wrestling. I mean, look at this. AEW just trademarked the name Meat Mayhem or Meat Madness, whatever the hell it was. Either way, we are getting some meat and we're putting it into the meat. There is more to this though, because like I just told you, the meat is back. Why? Here's why. Now really, I mostly wanted to invent this video so I could tell you how great Obi Femi from NXT is. That's it. The North American champion, as I am recording this, just had the best meat match with Otis, and I mean that as a huge compliment. I tell you, one day Femi is going to be on the main roster, and if he ain't the world champion, something terrible has happened. The dude also gets better each and every single week, and his whole gimmick is just, yes, I will kill you in the ring. When you give me a microphone, I'll actually be quite eloquent. So the moment he is ticking every single one of my boxes, that really did sound weird. We've also got Powerhouse Hobbs teasing that he is going to make a big return soon as well. And if we go back to SummerSlam, we had Gunther and Damian Priest going after the World Heavyweight Championship. And if you sit down and think about it, that was basically two big hosses clashing in the middle of the ring. I mean, at one point, Damian Priest was doing Hurricane Ranas because we perceived Gunther to be the bigger of the meat individuals. Like I say, if wrestling can keep giving this to me, I'll be a happy man. So when we do start to throw everything in the pot, it does kind of feel like sports entertainment is swinging back in this direction. Because of course, the last 10 years or so, I suppose the smaller individual or the more athletic wrestler has been top of the table. And that was totally great too, because we had gone way too far in the other direction. But the best thing about wrestling or sports entertainment is that you should be able to go to any show anywhere in the world and you get an eclectic cast of characters. So I want big guys, I want small guys, I want thin guys, I want fat guys. I want to be looking at a curtain and saying, I tell you, a clown could come out of there right now and I'll be totally good with it. So with all that in mind, I don't think it's a coincidence that especially in somewhere like AEW, when you do get two monsters going at it, the fans do chant meat. Just because I can do it again, let's go back to Obi Femi. Because the NXT crowd absolutely loves him. Like there's a noise in the building when he does come out. And if you want to describe him to someone as a comic book character come to life, you can. And isn't that just the best thing ever? Of course it is. This means my biggest hopes and dreams may be about to come true, because I've always said I want to bring balance back to the Force, like Star Wars, or in this case, professional wrestling. And I actually think we're on the cusp of that happening. I don't just mean David and Goliath matches like we saw when Obi Femi did take on Wesley, or when we saw Will Ospreay take on Lance Archer. I am talking about all of it. I want meat on meat. I want big men on big men. I want middle men against big men. I want small men against big men. I want big women against women. I want small women against big women. I want middle women against big women. And now I think I've run out. We did get that as well at SummerSlam because, of course, who was fighting for the WWE Women's Championship? It was Bayley and Nia Jax, and the whole time we sold Nia Jax as, oh my gosh, she is so big and strong, so you better watch out, Bales, because she'll crush you. Anytime Nyla Rose gets in there too, it's a right joy, and you can probably bring this back to Willow Nightingale and Chris Statlander too. I mean, these two guys pounce and tombstone each other. You ain't gonna see a lot of small wrestlers doing that. I suppose it all comes down to the evolution of the business, because this is nothing like it was in the 80s, and one of the reasons people wanted to move away from that is because when you did get an absolute mammoth individual, they'd kind of be slow and podding. Do go back and watch it now, dare I say it. Look, I do respect them, but just because what we have come to expect is a little bit boring. Nowadays though, you've got someone like Statlander who can throw you around or do a 450, and it just makes wrestling so damn entertaining. But do you remember when Lance Archer was throwing people through ceilings and throwing people through roofs? Only somebody like that could get away with it, because if you did get somebody who wasn't that size, you'd be like, that's preposterous. But when someone named the Murder Hawk Monster is doing it, like I've already told you, it's the best thing you've ever seen in your life. Also, as we have got here, AEW, if you could bring that back, I, for one, would really appreciate it. Thank you. And even though some crazies don't think so, the industry is flourishing at the moment. And I truly do believe the best way to keep that going and the best way to keep the momentum going is to continually introduce new characters and characters that look completely different from the last character that you saw. I mean, look at that Bronson Reed and Seth Rollins angle from Raw and what he did to Miz and R-Truth the following week. This was so over the top and it was so well done. The fans started to cheer. That's right, Seth Rollins, one of the biggest babyfaces, good guys in WWE. The crowd was like, yeah, that is true, and we still love him. But that was so damn cool, we just gotta cheer. You got me so damn pumped, I started shouting out, well, now, g'day, mate, Bronson Reed should be the world champion. And what a way to heat him up. I I mean, 2 weeks prior, he wasn't really doing much of anything. It's also another reason why competition is so important too, and as we have gone to this juncture, let's get in our time machines. Let's go back to WCW. Because even to this day, people talk about the fact that they had a bunch of cruiserweight wrestlers and a whole division, and how they brought Lucha Libre to America in many ways. And the reason that was so fascinating is because nobody else was flipping doing it. And the WWF certainly weren't even thinking about it, and while WCW did present them in a very specific way, if you were not into Mexican or Japanese wrestling, this was like the best damn thing you'd ever seen in your life. Now, it is hard to explain in 2024 because it is just everywhere. But when we got to Halloween Havoc 1997 and Rey Mysterio and Eddie Guerrero had that match, which is one of the best of all time as far as I'm concerned, it was almost like relearning maths. You're like, how are they doing this? Where the hell did they come from? So nobody knew what to do apart from that one guy who was like, well, I've been following them for years, and that's great. You go into your corner and do whatever it is you do want to do, but for me, that was a bright new dawn. I think it's super smart when it comes to AEW too, because while obviously they do have a style of wrestling they like to lean on, if all of a sudden you can just throw some big men or big women in there whenever it does make sense, well, you may be able to go out there and grab a whole new portion of the audience. I mean, some people just like a change now and then, and it all depends on your card. I mean, go back to WrestleMania 33 when Brock Lesnar and Goldberg walked out there. They went sub 5 minutes, and because everything on WrestleMania usually goes so long, it just got you adrenaline going. Like I say, it was totally different. So if nothing else, it woke you up, and it was just a healthy dose of man slapping man meat. Although, don't say that to Bill. I watched his interview with Chris Van Vliet the other day. He does not find that funny, men slapping man meat, so we won't use it when it comes to him. But he was also good at that style. Leaves me in a very difficult position. Now, you won't be surprised to hear this from me, because I've always been a huge advocate of two trucks just colliding into each other. Which is why I was a little disappointed when I first found out what AEW Collision was. That's what I thought it was going to be. And I realized I was being dumb. Let's just move on. If wrestling does indeed operate in cycles though, as we have said time and time again, well, I think we are on the cusp of bringing the big meaty men and women right back to the forefront. But this time, let's also make sure we keep the super athletes and we keep the flippy dippy doodah guys. Then you'll be able to tune in to WWE, AEW, TNA, whatever the hell it was, and you just don't know what you're going to get. And fine, that means one match may not be for you, but it may be for somebody else. And that means we can all hold hands and skip through the fields. Who doesn't want to do that? So I really do think it's time to celebrate the return of the Giants, and again, because AEW did just trademark that name, well, hopefully it's going to become one of their signature matches. And again, we have Obi Femi, who is going to completely rewrite this book, so you can call me Mr. Excited. It's a terrible name. It's like a crappy comic book character. Let's move on. Now, more importantly, I know some people are going to be going, no, I don't want this to happen, and you have a problem, you need to see somebody, but make sure you drop a comment below, like the video, share the video, and subscribe. And look, bam, there's another video with me talking about wrestling. I think you should click it. Otherwise, make sure you have a terrific day, my friends, and if you are into these meat monsters, make sure you come find me at 457 Meat Road, and we can do the meat dance. Have I run this into the ground? You bet your ass. I'll see you soon.